So let's look at the efficient capital markets at this point. What do we mean by efficient capital markets? Well, it just means that stock prices reflect all available information and that stock prices are in equilibrium or are fairly priced. So once again, when we talk about efficient capital markets, what we mean is that stock prices reflect all available information and that they are in equilibrium or are fairly priced. If we believe that the markets are efficient, or if that is true, then as an investor, you should not be able to earn abnormal or excess returns. In other words, you should be able to earn a return that is directly related to the level of risk that you are taking on. Take note, and I want you to highlight this. Efficient markets do not mean that investors cannot earn a positive return in the stock market. What we are saying is that if the stock markets are efficient, then you cannot consistently beat the market by earning an abnormal return over and above what your level of risk is calling for. It doesn't mean that it cannot happen one time, two times, three times. But it means that you cannot consistently do so. So once again, it does not mean that you cannot earn a positive return in the stock market. So here you have an example here of a reaction of the stock price to new information in efficient and inefficient markets. And you see here the efficient market response is this line here, the orange line. And the price immediately adjusts to the new information that comes into the market. And there is no tendency for increases and decreases to occur. Whereas if you look at the other line, you have a delayed reaction where the price only somewhat adjusts to the new information. And 8 days in this example passes by before the price completely reflects the new information. So in this case, there is no market efficiency. Remember we said with market efficiency, the price immediately reflects all new information. The green line, however, shows you the price over adjusts and then there is a correction later on, right? And this happens sometimes. So what makes markets efficient, right? And the number one reason is that there are many analysts, investors, academicians out there doing research. So as new information enters the market, this information is immediately analyzed and reflected in the stock price or in stock prices, right? So for example, when you look at Yahoo Finance and you see the price of your favorite stock, let's say Tesla, changing before your eyes, that is a result of new information coming into the market. Excuse me. Therefore, prices should reflect all available public information. If investors stop researching stocks, then the market will not be as efficient because there will be less information coming into the markets. So let's talk about some common misconceptions about the efficient market hypothesis, EMH. Number one is one that we've said before. Efficient markets do not mean that you can't make money. Number two, they do mean that on average you will earn a return that is appropriate for the level of risk undertaken, and that there is no bias in prices that can be exploited to earn excess returns. In other words, the market is efficient. However, and this is the one you need to highlight, market efficiency will not protect you from wrong choices if you do not diversify. You do not want to put all your eggs in one basket. In other words, you do not want to take all of your money and put it, for example, in Google or in Tesla or in Apple. You do not want to put all your eggs in one basket. You always want to diversify. So there are three forms of market efficiency. Strong form efficiency just means that prices reflect all information, both public and private. And we know that the markets are not strong form efficient because if you trade on private information, we call that insider trading, and essentially you'll end up in jail. So if the market is strong form efficient, what it means is that investors could not earn abnormal returns regardless of the information they possessed. So we know that the markets are not strong form efficient because if I have private information that you don't have and I trade on that information, then I would earn abnormal returns. So you see here, empirical evidence shows that markets are not strong form efficient and that insiders, people with private information, can earn abnormal returns. And this is why it is illegal to do so. Semi-strong form efficiency says prices reflect all publicly available information, and that includes trading information, annual reports, financial statements, press releases, etc. If the market is semi-strong form efficient, then investors cannot earn an abnormal return or abnormal returns by trading on public information because that information, that public information, will already be reflected in the stock price. And this implies that fundamental analysis will not lead to abnormal returns. And the reason this last point is made is that you do have some fundamental analysts who create elaborate models using public information from annual reports, for example, and economic data to try to beat the market. Weak form efficiency says that prices reflect all past market information or all historical information, for example, price and volume. So weak form efficiency says that stock prices reflect all historical information, all past market information. So therefore, if the market is weak form efficient, then investors cannot earn an abnormal return or abnormal returns by trading on such information because they would already be reflected in stock prices. And this implies that technical analysis will not lead to abnormal returns. And once again, the reason this point is made is that in the real world, there are indeed technical analysts who use past information to try to beat the market. However, if we say that the markets are indeed weak form efficient, then essentially these technical analysts are just wasting their time. And finally, we want to note here that empirical evidence shows that markets are generally weak form efficient. And finally, what I want to say here is that for those of you who are going further in the field of finance, you will notice that there are essentially two camps. One camp believes in market efficiency and another camp does not. So don't be surprised if you meet analysts who don't believe in market efficiency at all. So here you have the quick quiz, and I always want you to answer these questions. So take a few minutes and please answer these questions. If there's any that you don't remember, then just go back to get the answers. Ethics issues, you could read that on your own. And finally, the comprehensive problem you have, I will allow you to do this on your own. You could ignore part C here, right? Ignore part C. Do these on your own. The answers are actually in the slides. And this is the end of chapter 12.